Hello everybody, I needed to change out some steering components on my truck. This is changing out the upper and lower ball joint on an 89 K1500 Sierra 4x4. Now, I intended on showing the idler arm replacement and the bracket that is mounted to the frame for that, as well as changing out the pitman arm, but I just simply could not get in there with the camera and do the work. So this is just strictly one side, upper and lower ball joint. The other side is the same. Just general information on what it takes to do a job like this. Having the proper tools is paramount. I still had to makeshift some things on it, so here you go. Thanks for watching and good luck. Hello everybody, I'm going to do a video here on showing the installation R&R process on this handful of front end components for my truck. This is a 98 GMC Sierra K1500 4x4. I just got through putting in the new motor and I've been driving it a lot harder than I ever have. Going around corners, this, that, and the other, I noticed I started getting a speed wobble in the wheels. So I knew something was loose in the front end. So I had my neighbor come over last night and help me shake it down, figure out which components need to be replaced. And all but two of these actually definitely needed to be replaced. So I'm going to run through it. This is more informational instead of educational. This is not really even a how-to. This is just how I'm going to do it. If you do something wrong here, you're on your own and you can actually seriously injure yourself or maybe even kill somebody. So basically the lower ball joints are shot on the truck. I mean, they're not dead, scary falling apart, but loose enough to where they need to be changed. There are two styles of ball joints for this truck. They have a different diameter here, and one of them has a knurling around it, which this is one of those, and one doesn't. And it's kind of confusing because one of them is for a stamped lower A arm and one is for a forged lower A arm. I'm still confused to boot and hope I made the right choice. My lower A frame is stamped, but it also has a forged casting on the end. Who knows? So I got the ones that were serrated. I hope that's right. The upper ball joints on mine are technically good, but if you're going that far, you might as well replace them as well. These are bolt in. The original factory ones are riveted in. I don't know if these have been changed yet until I get the wheel off. I'm hoping they have been changed, so I'll just unbolt them and bolt these in. If not, it's rivet removal time. The pitman arm is shot in the joint here, so it's getting a new pitman arm. The idler arm is shot in this joint. It's getting a new idler arm. And this idler arm carrier bracket, whatever you want to call this, it's getting a new one of these as well. This particular one hardly ever gets lubricated with grease because this is almost impossible to get to with a grease zerk right there. The aftermarket one I purchased actually comes with a whip, so you can mount an external grease zerk somewhere on the vehicle, and I'll bolt it in and then it will be serviceable easily. I was going to go with the Moog Parts brand, which is what I normally would go to, but they are just getting kind of crazy expensive. For example, one of these items, maybe it was this one, this was about $26 in the Master Pro brand from O'Reilly, but it was $96 in Moog. So I went ahead and went with these. They do have a limited lifetime on them. If anything goes wrong, I'll take it back and exchange it, just hold my receipt. So that's basically what I'm doing here. This tally on these parts right here was about $158 plus tax. So I'm going to step through it. I've got the vehicle jacked up here behind me and we're going to get rolling. Alright, safety number one. You don't want any two kicks of the right leg and it's all over. So I've got it jacked up right now on both sides and I'm supporting it with jack stands. You can see the other one over there. I'm still going to be using a jack right here to control the lower A arm. As it stands right now, I have to jack it up just to get the tire off the ground, or these things would have to be way up in the air. This is a drive-on rack, so this is the way I have to do it, but this is safe, and safety is number one. Alright, I need to rip the wheels off of it. This has got wheel locks on it, so I need to get that one off first. And then take the rest off. I need to move the camera so I can get the wheel out of here. Alright, well I need to take the brake caliper off. I'm going to do one side at a time. I'm just going to grab in here and start pushing the piston back. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing there. Open myself up a little gap. There. Now I should be able to take it off and put it on without any issue. I can't find my hex socket for some odd reason, so I'm having to do these the lame way. Broke them loose and I'm just taking the pins out. Gonna make me work for it the whole way. Alright, that one's back out far enough. I'll do the next one. We'll get the caliper out of here. Alright, the caliper's out of the way. I just have it sitting on top of the A-arm right now. I need to find a place somewhere, maybe back over here, to wire it out of the way. The rotor should just come right off. Alright, well, I need to get the speed sensor wire clip off here. One of these is not a rivet, it's actually a bolt. And there's a nut on the back side. I'm trying to stay out of the way of the camera. Just need to zip this off. There's the bolt. And there's a clip right here on this control arm. I've taken the wire out. Alright, well now I need to separate this outer tie rod end. I'm going to take the nut off of it. I'm having to work around this rack and try to get the camera in here, so here we go. And that's that. Well, I can't seem to find my pickle fork, and I would not want to use it right here anyway because this outer tie rod is not being replaced, so I'm going to have to try to go old school on this. Just going to put the nut on there. And I'm going to try to swing between this rack, it's tight, and the truck fender or bumper. Put a few well-placed blows right there and see if this thing will break apart. So, try not to hit anything else. And that was that. There we go. The ball joints are going to be fun because I'm going to have to try to do those the same way. Those I would definitely use a pickle fork on. We'll see what we need to do to get this job over with. Alright, well there's a cotter key on this upper ball joint. I'm just going to try to straighten out the ears just a little bit. Try to push it a little if I can to see if I can get a hold of it on the other side. Just getting it working out. There's one half of it. Let's pull out with my fingers. Alright, this is the key on the bottom. Let's do it the same way. Just trying to get them out of here. I'm just trying to straighten things out just enough to get them poked out the other side just a little bit so I can get a hold of it with my dikes here. There. Now I'm just squeezing it with my dikes lightly and just rolling it out. That's the easiest way to get those cotter pins out. Okay, so that's that. Need to take the nuts off here, so I'll go ahead and get those off. Alright, I got those nuts off. I'm going to remove the axle nut here. There's a big washer behind that. Don't lose it. Alright, I'm going to try to separate the ball joints. I've put the nut, just a few threads on the top and the bottom. You're not going to be able to see this, but I'm hitting right here on this one. And I'm going to hit right here on this one. And I'm gonna have to try to miss my fender. So this may or may not work. I'm gonna give it a go. Well, I don't know. Here we go. Alright, the top one's loose. Alright, there we go. I'm going to leave the nut on there because I don't want it to fall and hit me, and I've got the nut on the bottom. I'm going to try to break the bottom one loose as well. Bottom was being a little stubborn. There it went. Take the top nut off, bottom off. And there it is. Need to hang this out of the way as well because of this wire. I'm not going to take it loose. Alright, well, I've got the steering knuckle out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and drive these rivets off. I'm using my old snap-on air hammer with a nice chisel. You're going to have a lot of power to do this, or you can drill them out and then beat them out. But it's going to get very, very loud here. Let's see how it works. There's one. Watch your eyes. There's two. And three. Now I need to change the bit to a point. Then I'll drive them down from the top. Drive them out. Try to get my hand out of the way here in a second. That's not working too well. Alright, well, I got them out, all three. Here they are right here. It turned out to be a bigger chore than what I thought. I should not have gone in there with a point, a sharp point. I should have gone with a blunt point. So I, in essence, mushroomed them out inside there. So what I ended up doing was using my air hammer and hammering this off the top. So then I had the three sticking up. Then I came in with what I call a whizzer wheel, and I cut them flush again. Then I used a blunt chisel and was able to drive them out the bottom. Since the upper control arm is mounted in the bushings up here, I cut a block of wood to give me a solid surface to work with instead of what I was working on. So they came out a lot easier that way. So we're moving along. Need to do the lower one now. I'm hoping to be able to do this without pulling the CV joint here, because I don't think I can, the way everything's positioned right now, I don't even think if I loosen up the flange bolts that I can get it out between the shock and the sway arm here, sway bar. So See if I can fit everything together. Well, alright, I've got a ball joint press installed now. I had to lower the lower A-arm down almost as far as I could. And then I was hoping to get on that with an impact, but I'm just barely being able to push up the upper arm to get probably a 2-foot breaker bar on it. So I'm going to have to probably wrench these off by hand. I didn't want to do that, but I'll see if I can get it to budge. I don't think it did yet. I have to reset this. I got to get in the way. Give it another one. Just trying to give it a little shock therapy here. Yeah, that broke free. Just going to try to show you what it takes to do this. This is why I wanted to get on it with an impact socket. Made a big jump that time. Sorry, I have to keep getting in the camera. I try to stay out of the way in my videos, but this one, not optional. Another big leap. And I'm not hitting it very hard, but that just helps shock things loose, and it makes it easier to get them apart instead of just using brute force. See if I can use a wrench now. Here. Here. Getting ready to pop free. Woohoo! Well, let's see if I guessed right, getting the one with the knurling on it. Yes, I did. And by the way, this grease zerk, when you put these in, make sure you put the hole towards the back of the truck, or you'll be taking it out, putting in a different one, or in a different spot, because you won't be able to get to that. Alright, well, I've got the press set up to press this in, but I can only go so far right now. It wasn't quite long enough to get the top cup in to receive that ball joint, and I've also got the control arm up out of the way, and I've got a block of 2x6 that's holding it up. So I'm actually going to try to run my impact gun on this and drive it in. Just a little burst at a time, just so I can make sure it's starting. Give it a little bit of a persuasion with a hammer. A little more. Just taking it apart to make sure it started. Well, it's definitely started in there. Just gonna have to keep working at it because I'm not up to this yet. Going to keep working at it like this and moving it around a little bit to get it all going up in there straight. Alright, well, I ran into a problem. I couldn't fit all the sockets that I needed up in here on this bearing press to press it in the rest of the way. I needed something really shallow like a bearing race. Couldn't find one. So what I've done, these are just the two steel plates off my press. So I've got the original part of the press here that'll go into the cup. And this should allow me to get all the way, or at least get me up in there far enough to where I can put the proper piece on to do this. So I'm hoping it's going to work. You can't really see it going in. So here we go. Alright, I'll keep working on this. It is working. Alright, the lower ball joint's in place. I put the grease zerk in it. Everything's looking good. I just had to use my steel plates there. Never could get the right stuff in there to make that work out. But we got it anyway. At this stage I'm installing the upper. I've got the bolts in. These nuts are self-locking, so they only go in one way. I'm leaving this one out for now because I need to put it in and get this line hooked back up. So I'm just going to zip these down here. I was a little bit disappointed. This isn't serviceable, this top ball joint. There's no zerk fitting for it. But Since all the hard work's been done with the rivets and everything, if there's a problem with this later, I'll just warranty them out. These would be very quick and easy to change. You don't have to take all this whole mess apart. Okay, getting ready to put the bottom on. Steering knuckle. This is kind of going to be a tongue-in-cheek operation. But I should be able to get it. Okay, get my nut started on the bottom. There it goes. I'm gonna have to jack it up some more to get the top in, I think, or maybe I can push it down. I'm gonna have to jack it up. All right, this is going to go on as well. Now I need to put in the last bolt. And that's where this speed sensor wire hooks on. And there we go. Need to tighten up the nuts. Alright, I'm tightening up the lower ball joint now. I can't get any air tools in here. Stick in the key. And there we go. Need to do the top one as well. Alright, we're coming down the home stretch on this. Need to put my axle nut on and get it tightened up. The washer's been put back on there. Go ahead and stick back on the rotor. And the caliper. I'll tighten up the caliper, stick on the wheel. This side will be finished. Do the other side the same way.